I'll start the recording. So, good evening. Thank you very much for joining me on these midweek mindfulness journeys. I'm Jeff Newton, and every Wednesday at 8 p.m, sort of Australian Eastern Time, I will take you through some basic mindfulness meditation practices. Tonight I thought we would explore some positive emotions, because the whole point of mindfulness is to eventually change our reactivity into responding. So rather than reacting to the world around us and being a slave to what happens to us, we can take some control and respond skillfully. And to be able to convert a reaction into a deliberate response, we need to be aware of what's happening, aware of our power, aware of our control, so that we can deliberately apply a little bit of logic and a little bit of compassion and skill, wisdom to the circumstance, and respond in a way that's going to be beneficial to ourselves and to everybody else around us. So that's really the point of mindfulness, is to transform reacting into responding. Now, feelings and emotions are part of that entire package. Sometimes we get a little bit hijacked by our emotions, especially if it's a very heightened situation where our fight or flight mechanism kicks in, and we can actually get a little bit hijacked in our mind and start sort of responding with our primitive mind, our basic reptilian sort of part of the brain, and we could even get so enraged that we lose all ability to be responsible for our actions. I'm not saying we all go that far all the time, but the more we can slow that response down, understand where we're at, understand what's happening in our body, put in a few little pauses here and there, we can just go, oh, this is what's happening to me. So usually when this happens to me, I go in this direction, and that's not very good for me. That gets me into trouble, or I end up saying something I regret, or doing something that I regret later. So that little tiny bit of pause eventually will get bigger and bigger, and we are able to go, okay, this time I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to say nothing at all. Well, this time I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something else. That's the whole point of being mindful, is so that we can take charge of our actions. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that having an emotional response is bad, and I'm certainly not saying that we are going to remove our emotions from our body, because removing your emotions is highly unlikely, and they're actually useful. What I'm saying is we will recognize the emotions that are happening in our body and then choose how to respond to them. So tonight we're going to do a very simple sort of mindful activity where we think about a positive moment in our past, and that can be any sort of positive moment at all, from watching a movie to having a great conversation with friends, seeing a loved one graduate, or having a birthday, or anything like that at all from our past, either recently or older. So think about that now, if you would. Choose something that's in your life that recently happened. I say recently because it's stronger, but it can be any time. Once you've chosen that event, we'll do a little bit of mindfulness activity with that. We'll just play around with that event and the feelings that it generates. So let's first start with a few just basic breathing mindfulness activities. So first of all, just get yourself into a nice comfortable position. The position in any of these mindfulness meditations is almost irrelevant. You can be lying down, you can be sitting on a chair, you can be sitting on a cushion, you can be standing up even. The most important thing is to find something that really works for you. I personally find if I lie down, then I tend to fall asleep. So I like sitting, and even just standing is good. If you are sitting, it's relatively important to keep the back straight, because slouching, again, gives us the tendency of falling asleep and gives our mindfulness meditation a little bit of dullness. So sitting up gives you energy, keeps you awake, and it adds a little bit of sort of presence to our practice, a little bit of honouring, a little bit of importance. It is important, I think, so yeah, sit up. With that, you want to put your head back over your shoulders as well, so your ears really want to be in line with your shoulders, and to do that you just tuck your chin in a little tiny bit, because again, if you're slumping forward, you're going to be having the tendency of falling asleep, and you're also going to hurt your neck. So sit up, head back, ears in line with your shoulders, tuck your chin in. Nice straight back, but you certainly don't have to be a rigid soldier. If you want to pull your shoulders back a tiny little bit, that makes your chest pop out just a little, and again makes you proud of your practice, makes you noble, adds a little bit of honouring to this practice of mindfulness. Then once you're in that nice comfortable position, let's just turn our attention to our breath. Focusing on our breathing can be done on the tip of our nose. It can be done on our belly, watching our belly rise and fall as we breathe in and out. It can be done by watching the air come in all the way down to our lungs, watch our lungs expand, and then visualise that air coming back out again. Again, that's almost irrelevant and very personal. It's up to you. Some people say if you watch it on the tip of your nose, then it's really nose meditation, not breath meditation. Anyhow you want to focus on your breathing, turn to that focal point now and watch your breath as you breathe in, and watch your body as it breathes out. Don't try to change your breathing at all. Don't try to speed it up or slow it down. Just let your body do what your body has been doing for years. This is where we're just being. We're just being present in our bodies, watching it breathe. If you wish, you may just artificially enlarge those breaths a little. So breathing in just a little bit deeper, and breathing out just a little bit deeper than is normal. Just do that for 3 or 4. Breathe in and then breathe out slowly. Breathe out slower than you breathed in. So you might breathe in for a count of 4 and breathe out for a count of 7. As an example. So now let your body relax and go back to its natural rhythm. Breathing in through your nose, out through your nose. Now as we fall into a natural rhythm of breathing, turn your mind to that happy occasion. Recall whatever happy occasion you have chosen, that birthday party, that wonderful conversation with your best friend, graduation, overseas travel, birth of a grandchild, whatever moment you choose. Try to bring that to mind. Try and hear the noises that were happening, this laughter, put a smile on your face even. We want to try and re-engage those emotions that were generated by that happy occasion. Try to visualize the people that were there, the sights, the colours, the environment. Whatever happy occasion in your life you've chosen, we're re-enacting it in our mind's eye. See if you can even bring back some of the smells, if there were any. Smell of the chocolate birthday cake, if it was a birthday. Smell of the champagne, if it was some sort of celebration. Bring these happy thoughts into our mind, and that will generate positive mood and positive emotions in our body. This not only demonstrates that you can artificially control your emotions, but it also now gives us a tool to explore our emotional state. So with this tool now, I invite you to drop your feelings, drop your mindfulness, I should say, down into your body and explore the feelings that you've generated. You don't need to label them, but you can if you wish. How are they sitting with you? That wonderful feeling of a new grandchild, or the proudness maybe of your son graduating, or the loving connection you had with your best friend. Whatever it might be, explore those feelings that are now in your body. So where are those feelings? Are they sitting in your heart? In your stomach? In your throat? All over? How are those feelings manifesting? Is it kind of dull? Or is it a bit sharper? If you need to come back into your mind for a moment to regenerate those thoughts, to kickstart those feelings again, that's okay. But stay in your body as long as you can and explore these feelings, these happy, wonderful feelings. Do they have a colour? Do they have an intensity? Are they constant, or do they fluctuate? So keep your mind on these feelings for as long as you can and explore them with the beginner's mind, with curiosity. Notice that these feelings probably weren't there 10 minutes ago, and so you generated them. Be mindful that in an hour's time they probably won't be there again, so they're impermanent. All feelings will come and go. Now I invite you to come back into your mind, come back to that happy scene. See if you can visualize it again, hear it, see it, smell it. And now let it go. Let it drift away and return to your breath. Just focus on our breathing, watching our body rise and fall. And now I'll invite you to drop back into your body and search for those same feelings. Find them again. This time without visualizing the event. Let's go straight for those feelings. Can you find them, or are they gone? If you can find them, are they the same? Or have they changed? Are they just as strong? Are they still dull, if they were dull before? Or has that changed? Are they still in the same place in our body? So my guess is, and while this might not be right for everybody, my guess is that the second time you visited those feelings, they had changed, and they were maybe even a little duller, a little faded. And that's okay. So if you wish, just turn your attention back to your breathing. Watch your body breathe gently, rhythmically. Knowing that we did this to generate positive emotions, and we can do this to generate negative emotions, if you should wish to. It's a good little activity to do with some negative emotions, maybe some gentle negative emotions that aren't going to completely send you into tears and sadness. Maybe just a minor regret of something you probably should have done. Because you can play with those feelings and realize that they're just feelings, and that they too will dissipate and reduce as we maybe saw these positive ones do. And the more often you revisit them, the less power they will have on you. And the same type of thing can work in reverse. You can generate positive feelings and carry them with you as much as you can concentrate and focus throughout the day. That's not easy, but it can be done. So that was just a little sort of technique or example of how we can tap into our emotional state and drop into our body and observe those emotions. And the more we observe our emotions, the more we get to know them, get to know where they are, how they appear to us, how they affect us. So we increase our emotional intelligence. We increase our understanding of what happens in our body when we experience emotions like this. So then when you're out and about, just living life, and something happens to you and you start feeling these emotions, you can go, oh, I know what that is. I've experienced that before. This is great. This is where I want to be. In this case, obviously, with these positive emotions. But the same can apply for negative emotions. We can just see them as an emotion. Fairly harmless. Fairly useful emotion. But we can recognize it. And we can take control and respond rather than react. So now with our mind firmly on our breath, let's just sit with that for a moment. Watching our breath rise and fall. You may like to count your breaths to help with that focus. So on every exhalation we count. You want to count more than 5, but less than 10. This is one of our basic mindfulness of breath techniques. And if you lose your count or your mind wanders, just gently bring it back to your breath. No criticism or judgment, no worries at all. Just bring your mind back to your breath, like you would guide a small child away from a dangerous situation. And start counting again at 1. Knowing that the better we get at watching the breath, the better our concentration is, which then enables us to stay with our mood and our feelings as we did in the beginning. A little more skillfully, a little stronger, a little longer. So this simple breath meditation, breathing in and out, just watching it over and over again, not only brings us home, brings us back to our body, slows us down to the here and now, but it increases our concentration and allows us to do other things, like explore our emotions. So thank you very much for joining me on this midweek mindfulness meditation. I hope that's been of some benefit. I challenge you to practice on your own emotions. Don't go too deep with the negative ones just yet. Don't try to explore any childhood trauma or depression that you may have had just yet. I'd suggest you practice exploring some more positive ones. And once you feel you are very good at that, practice exploring some neutral ones. Ones that don't really affect you too much. They're more subtle, harder to find where they sit in your body and how they feel for you. And then once you're very proficient at that, maybe you can explore some not so pleasant ones. But again, some milder, gentle ones. Things maybe you've already dealt with or are actually over. And you can see where they sit, how they affect you, what they feel like. And the more often you visit them regularly, over and over again, those same feelings, the more you'll see that they're not you. They're just something that's happening in your body. And they'll lose their grip on you. And you will take a little bit of control and be able to respond. You'll still get sad. You'll still get angry maybe. But you'll have a little bit of separation between you and that feeling. So thank you and good night. I appreciate your time.